So summary for the entire chapter. ये जो first question था, that was only for calculation with respect to the NPV, maximum price that you are ready to pay, and return if at all the time period is 1 year. तीन चीज बोला मैंने, मैक्सिमम प्राइस दैट यू आर रेडी टू पे, एनपीवी और रिटर्न अगर टाइम पीरियड 1 साल है तो. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन सेम ही क्वेश्चन है, इन विच द ओनली चेंज दैट आई हैव मेड इज द टाइम पीरियड इज 3 years. And what I have done, friends, I have kept the preference dividend same on annual basis. First year, second year, third year, it is same. That is what I have done. N is 3 and dividend is same. And I did the answer by all the 3 methods. At this point of time, I introduced that so the return can be calculated either with the accurate method or return can be calculated by using the approximate method. That is what I introduced in this question. This is a question in which, same as the previous one, N is 3 years. However, over here, every year the amount of the interest is changing. So what happens, let's say, from the 3 methods, NPV same, no change. Maximum price that you are ready to pay, no change. In the return, approximate formula method is not possible, only IRR method is possible. That is what I want to explain. Same kind of question by all the 3 methods is like the perpetuity question. 1E, it is again the same kind of question, perpetuity formula, wherein it is the dividend, so P0 divided by KE minus E. फ्रेंड्स એટલે ઓલમોસ્ટ આ 5 ક્વેશ્ચન જે મેં કરાયા છે ને, ये जो 5 क्वेश्चंस मैंने करवाए हैं, in that से all the varieties are covered. Time period 1 year, time period more than 1 year, rate of interest same, time period more than 1 year, rate of preference dividend different, then perpetuity same numerator cash flow, perpetuity where the dividend is increasing. Question number 1F is a good practice question, wherein looking to the information of the question you are required to prepare the cash flow series. So I would say that it is a, like, if at all I say A is very important, B is moderate and C is not important, then it is B category question. Not excellent, but preparing the cash flow series is quite important. 2A is C category question because number of such questions are covered later on. These questions I have done initially just to create the concept base. 2A is absolutely not important. 2B is again absolutely not important, just to create the base. 2C again not important. Over here just I want to explain that say cost of capital and price of the security have inverse relationship, which is again covered later on in the questions. This is, I would say, that's the good question in terms of determination of the discounting rate. Because over here number of times I have found that the students are facing a difficulty in understanding the discounting rate. This is what my observation is. Otherwise, as such, the question is simple. As such, honestly, I believe like that. Question number 3A is again a practice question, but still it is a good question because the income tax rate information is given to us. 3B is again a practice question, not excellent, but still it is a good question. Deep discount bond, again a different kind of security. The redemption value is only cash inflow. 3D, in that so the second part of the question is again very important. The first part is not so important, but the second part is excellent. Why? Because understanding the language of the question becomes difficult for students number of times. 3E, C category, not at all important. 3F, it is an important question because of the semi-annual interest payment. 3G is again an important question because interpretation of the question is important. That what the question wants to say is what number of times I have observed that students are not able to understand. 3H is important question, especially for the second part of the question, because the date of the purchase of the security is provided between two dates. This is a practice question. 3J is a question which is important because we are required to find the modified internal rate of return. So this is A category question which you need to revise. This is simple question, not so important. This is only practice question that I have kept, not so important because similar to these kind of questions have already been covered earlier. This is again very important question because excellent concept that they have provided over here. This is C category or D category question just to create the base. This is again the C category. This is for the growth rate, so again C category. This is B category question, just calculation of the P0 and the growth rate. This is B category question, and dear students, this is the question which has been asked in recent SFM examination of January 2020 in the old syllabus. This 5A is again C category question. 5B is very important question, very basic question, and similar to this, number of questions asked in examination, number of questions. Even SFM knew recent examination question was having 7 years cash flow series with the same concept. 7 years cash flow series. This is again important to understand the language of the question. This is again important because the dividend payout ratio is changing, and because of that, so the dividend per share will change, and we have to compute that year's dividend per share not using the dividend per share of the previous year but using the earning per share of that year. 5E is a practice question, so I am giving B category, otherwise it is an important question. But similar to that, we have done it earlier. 5F, very important question. Then this is also a very important question. Next one, RK Limited question. Six A is not so important. 6B is an important question. 6C is again very important question. 6D is again important question. 6E in that second part of the question is important. First part is okay. 6F, it is again an important question. 7A, it is C category, not so important. Next, this is again an important question because investor has to decide when to do the conversion. This is okay, not extremely important question. This is only the practice question of the previous one. Again the practice question for the previous one. This is very important, especially the first part of the question. Again, a good question. Over here, the last two questions are important. And understanding just the language of the question is important, not the calculations, because the calculations are the repetition only. However, that understanding is important. This is again important because the only question that we have like this. Then theoretical X price, not so important because later on this kind of question is covered. This is also okay. This is also okay. This is very important. This is also very important. Zero coupon bond, this is C category, because later on these are the questions just to create the concept of the duration. Later on, number of such questions have been done. This is important, wherein we introduce the concept of the volatility. This is C category because it is only a practice question, even covered later on. For perpetuity, we have the only one question. This is B category. Using the duration, we have to compute the price. In this, only the convexity calculation is important. Rest all working, you can see that they are very simple. This is A category question in terms of the second part of the question. Second part of the question is important. And duration of the portfolio is a new concept that we introduce in the C part. Then only a practice question, but again a very good question in which we understand the concept of the duration. Immunization concept. This is what you can ignore. Only a practice question just to understand the cash flow effect. This is a question which I would say that the second part of the question is important. A part is also good, not so bad. To understand that you have to make the combination. Again over here, this is important. Yeah, this is a practice question which you can ignore. This is a question from the recent publication of the institute in which I have shared my opinion with you regarding doing answer. Just go through it for once before examination, and so lengthy 10 years time period for which you have to compute the duration, 8 years and 5 years. Dear students, not only understanding of the concept but the writing practice is also very much required. So don't be overconfident that you'll be able to execute in examination. This is again good question with a different method of valuation. Net asset method, book value method. This is again a good question. Dividend discount model approach. This is the free cash flow for equity. This is an important question according to me. This is also a very important question. A special valuation which they have provided to us that we have to follow. This is the future date concept introduction. So the first question is always very simple, so ignore it. Second question in that, the third part of the question is only important. First and second part is just to create the concept. This is very important. Future dates calculation. Just go through it, how to do answer when the beta is given. Dividend distribution tax is replaced with the income tax. Over here it is only the retained earning or earning per share, you can have the interpretation. This is a good question and this will help you even in the risk management chapter. Sorry, that is the risk management subject. This is again a good question in terms of the execution of doing answer, because unless you are clear that say how to execute, it is difficult. Better than above average, we can say the discounting is 16%. This is buyback of equity shares. These are the recent questions which have been introduced in the module. So we would say that these are the important questions. This is C category, bond refunding. The first two questions are not so important. The remaining three are important. Okay, thank you very much.